Alright, y'all. So it is May 22nd. Novak Djokovic turns 37 today and celebrated his first birthday win of his career, actually, at the time of this recording, beating Yannick Hanfmann in Geneva. Novak out there to get a couple of extra matches under his belt ahead of Roland Garros. And in the meantime, in honor of his birthday today, I love myself some rankings. I love myself some tennis clothes, especially when I get to talk about tennis clothes of years past, because boy, have these brands been letting go of the rope of late. I'm looking at you, Nike, in particular. But in a continuation of my birthday video for Federer a couple years ago, today we are going to be doing the 10 best outfits of Novak Djokovic's career. Novak, of course, over the course of his career has, hopped around, began at Adidas, then Sergio Tacchini, then Uniqlo, and now today Lacoste, of course. So obviously there is no shortage of material on my end to dig through and nail down a top 10 that I can be happy with here. So kicking us off at number 10, I really initially did want to go with an Adidas entry here. I was intending on number 10 being Shanghai 2008 all the way, but last minute I have to kick out my one planned Adidas entry on this list for a better Shanghai outfit in my opinion. Shanghai 2018. I have long maintained that the shattered glass stuff that Lacoste did for Novak through the summer hardcourt swing all the way till the end of 2018 was far and away the best gear they ever gave Novak. Every single fit to me just looked so cool, and though the Shanghai 2018 one was kind of reminiscent of his clay court stuff in 2018, which by the way I did also really like, but throwing the shattered glass design on it I think was really next level. Of course, at this point, after, spectacular Wimbledon and US Open runs, he had reestablished that he was back with a boom. And this Shanghai title proved quite crucial in his chase for year-end number one. Absolutely bulldozed through the draw. I think probably his single best start-to-finish tournament of 2018. And certainly as far as, his on-court play as well as his look, he did it in style. Next up at number 9, very familiar color scheme, the dark blue-white combo at the Australian Open obviously has yielded Novak all types of iconic performances over the years. For whatever reason, he does seem to really just dominate in this very simple but elegant look. And obviously, more of his early Lacoste stuff. This one obviously famous for the two beatdowns at the back end of this tournament that he laid down on Puig and Nadal back-to-back. Probably the best Grand Slam final performance of his career in this one. So it's of course become super iconic. Very simple look, I think, but, it just looks right. There's something very right about seeing Djokovic in this color scheme and how it kind of blends into the Australian Open court color. And, as meh as I sort of think Lacoste's recent looks for him have been, to me in their early years with him, they were definitely hitting it out the park. At number 8... obviously, this one will always be synonymous with the net touch and one of the greatest clay court matches of all time. Apologies for any bad memories that may bring up for Djokovic fans. There aren't many for you to really lament over the years, but from the first moment I saw it, I was a huge fan of this, light turquoise look, how it contrasted with the clay. It is just beautiful, and considering I've seen it in person too, having those dark gray brownish accents were also a beautiful touch. Uniqlo was really cooking with this one, and obviously them and Adidas didn't seem like they always coordinated with the shoe-shirt combo, but it worked out well here. And, between the two of them in the semifinals, I think this was one half of one of the best dressed matches of all time between Rafa and Novak. And since this is the first Uniqlo entry on this list, I did find myself in looking back at all of Novak's looks over the years. I remember at the time, living through his Uniqlo years, I thought what they did with him was super boring. But of course, looking back now, there are a lot of gems in there, and even for number 7, we are revisiting 2018 and the aforementioned shattered glass pattern. And in my opinion, the very best of the bunch. Novak's night look during the 2018 US Open. I really can't say enough about this shattered glass pattern and how cool I think it looks. And the dark take on it under the lights at Arthur Ashe. This one was an absolute slam dunk. I think really since his Sergio Tacchini days, it's been rare that Novak's gone with an all dark fit, shoes and socks included. And there really is something to be said about night on Ashe and how it really seems to bring out the best in what tennis fashion has to offer. And of course, in an outfit looking this cool, Djokovic had to take out the title. Super clean, really, after the first 2 rounds. Didn't drop a set the rest of the way, and, well, it had to be. It had to live up to the excellence of this outfit. And rounding out the back half of this list, we have our first sighting of Tacchinovic. If you didn't live through 2011 Novak Djokovic, it's really the ultimate case of you just had to be there. Yeah, it was mostly just white and black polos with different designs, the occasional red polo. But those guys consistently brought the heat for him. And with this entry, he debuted it at Rome in 2011. Wimbledon excluded, wore this all the way up through, I believe, Cincinnati. So obviously hoisted titles in Rome and Montreal in this fit. And it shouldn't work, but it just does. It's kind of these, splashes of like gradient patterns in red, blue, a little bit of yellow in there as well. You had the same pattern on the shorts as well. He wore it in both black and white. Probably in a vacuum, pulled off his most impressive clay court title in Rome. And it was just a boss-ass kid, man. I don't know what else to say. That eccentric pattern kind of just perfectly encapsulated the dynamo nature of 2011 Novak Djokovic. So what do we got next? Probably the outfit that a lot of you would think of immediately when associating the apex, the dominant nature of, the guy who looked like he had perfected the sport during Djokovic's dynastic 2015 first half 2016 run. I've got Australian Open 2016 night session at number 5. At a time when the Golden State Warriors were in the midst of their 73-9 season, Novak Djokovic donned Warriors colors, sort of. And I, for one, was a big fan of this pattern with the accents that he sported throughout the course of 2016, regardless of colorway. And honestly, I think the shoes make this fit for me. Barricade 7s were my favorite tennis shoe I've ever played with. And I think, colorway-wise, this one was peak. Just great stuff all around. The colors, the pattern, the shoes. And considering he wore the yellow day fit for that 100 unforced error match against Simone, in this version of the outfit, he was pretty much flawless. Most famously, of course, putting forth one of the best performances of his career in the semifinals against Federer. Pretty routine final against Murray as well. Overall bang-up job by Uniqlo for the kit that would see him win his 11th slam. Number 4, I'm gonna go with, I think, kind of an unconventional pick. I've got London 2015 at the ATP World Tour Finals. Uniqlo did love giving Novak his dark outfits, typically during the year-end championships. You've got some really nice black combinations throughout the years 2012 through 2014. And in 2015, this one really caught me off guard because throughout the entire year, they had basically been giving Djokovic nothing but solid colored polos. Very kind of minimal designs. This is probably where my belief of Uniqlo Djokovic being boring originated throughout the course of this season. And that's why I was even more surprised when they trotted him out in what they did at the Tour Finals in 2015. This one to me was an absolute beauty. One thing about me, I'm a sucker for these gradients, especially when they're pulled off really well. And I think this most certainly was. You have that same shade of blue you saw Uniqlo give him Sunshine Double of this year and 2016. But with that kind of white stripe near his chest, it transitioned down into darker blues until you finally got to black. Went all the way down from the shorts to the socks. Made it so I didn't know that I wanted to see those purple barricades from the US Open with black socks. And it was a total game changer for me. Of course, in it, a Tour Finals run that sort of mirrored the one we just saw him have in 2023, where, he lost a match in the round robin, but ultimately avenging that loss to the same player in the final made him into an unstoppable freight train at the back end of this tournament, destroying Nadal and Federer in the semis and finals respectively, and in doing so capping off probably the greatest season in modern tennis history. London 2015 at number 4. And now we get to our S tier, the top 3. Honestly, you can probably shuffle this around however you want. They're all top drawer, but right now I'm feeling at number 3, Roland Garros 2016. As I said, throughout much of 2016, I was a fan of the pattern they rolled with, throwing on those accents around the arm sleeves and up the side, and I think it was best executed here at the French Open in 2016, doing it with red and the black pants with the red accents, the red and black, blocks on the wristbands, and the black and white barricade 7s. This outfit to me just screamed class. And of course it will go down in history. It saw Djokovic finally achieve his long-awaited career Grand Slam, and also while doing so culminated that 2015, early 2016 Djokovic dynasty with the Nole Slam, winning the last 4 majors going back to Wimbledon 2015. Special for many reasons obviously, but as I said before, just visually, there's nothing better I can say than this one just screamed class. At number 2, we're splitting hairs, but I gotta go with my favorite Sergio Tacchini fit of all time, and that is the Australian Open in 2012. Novak, of course, went on to wear this same outfit through the Sunshine Double and Monte Carlo, as well as the infamous blue clay in Madrid, but there's no doubt it'll always be tied at the hip to this tournament, the Australian Open in 2012. And, on the surface it seems like it's nothing special, but I think it's the epitome of what made his Sergio Tacchini fit so great. It is the epitome of less is more. I don't need to tell you the significance of the tournament and how iconic it is. Everybody already knows that. I don't really know how to describe the pattern on the side of the shirt, but it was just really cool. Blue and red used there as well as on the collar. And every single combination of this outfit was awesome. Obviously, he rocked both the white and the black shirt in the final. Earlier in the tournament, he rocked the all-black version of it, and I think it's the coolest all-black outfit of Djokovic's career. Also went on to wear it a couple times in Miami that year. It just looked epic, and obviously his exploits in the semis and final of the 2012 Australian Open will supersede just epic. So, obviously this one will be enshrined in my mind forever. So obviously in a career spanning this long, 10 spots was very hard to narrow down, and I would be remiss if I didn't throw in a couple honorable mentions before I revealed the top spot. Obviously no Adidas outfits made the cut, but I can't go through a video like this without mentioning the Australian Open in 2008, his first Grand Slam. Both day and night for that tournament looked super sharp. Along with that, another Adidas entry, I think the one that really set the tone for his dark year-end championship looks, and that is Shanghai in 2008. Honestly, remember the matches less with this one, more so just how dope he looked, the black and gold. Same color combo actually sort of replicated in 2012 and 2014 with Uniqlo. both of which I was a fan of, minus the white shoes in 2012. But if we're going chronologically, I guess let's hit Djokovic next. You also can't do a Djokovic outfit video without mentioning US Open 2010. Obviously, the dragon, symbolic in a way of Djokovic, on the precipice of his massive breakthrough. But again, it's an outfit that with Sergio Tacchini, you're like, it shouldn't work, but it did with both the day and night fits, in my opinion. And then moving forward, you probably could go one way or the other with Australian Open 2011 versus 12. 11, also another awesome combination of the Serbian flag colors, and it's pretty much synonymous with his unstoppable start to 2011, the 41-0. I also got to shout out his 2011 US Open outfit. It's very simple, but another case of less is more. And then with Uniqlo, I really liked the pattern they went with early in 2014, particularly night at the Aussie Open and during the clay court swing with their white and black take on it. I thought those were really cool. And then, of course, I know a popular choice for Djokovic outfits is the night for US Open 2015. I actually like the red day one better that he also rocked in Beijing and Shanghai. Red during that Asian fall swing with Uniqlo was also very typical for Novak, but I think 2015 had the best version of it. And then, of course, finally getting to the Lacoste stuff. As I mentioned before, everything Shattered Glass has to go here that I didn't list before, so that's summer tune-up hardcourt events in Canada and Cincinnati where he wore green. And then the rare blacked out version of it, Darth Novak at the World Tour Finals. That one also awesome. And then what I will give Lacoste is that I think they did the best with his national team outfits as far as ATP Cup in 2020 and Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Both looked super clean. And then while I wasn't in love with the pattern in 2022, I did love his fall stuff for what he wore in, I think, Astana and another tournament. It was sort of this pearl color that I'd never really seen worn on tour. Haven't loved much of the recent Lacoste stuff, but I do think the pattern in early 2023 was really nice. Kind of reminded me of like a racer checkered flag. And of those, I loved the green apple in Dubai, and I really liked Roland Garros. Ever since he's been with Lacoste, it's been some combination of red and white or red and black for clay. But I thought this was a nice change-up, even though it was pretty much the same color. I liked that they had sort of navy shorts to go with it. An awesome outfit to capture major number 23 in. And now, at the top spot, drum roll please. My personal standalone top dog is the 2013 Australian Open. I am, of course, talking about the night session. And when describing this outfit, I feel like I'm going to sound like that, one Homelander meme, that it was perfect. But, like, seriously, it was perfect, down to every last minute detail. Navy and yellow looked brilliant. The yellow stripes all around on the sleeves as well as the shorts. And then the silver barricades. I mean, this was just chef's kiss. And obviously, not that it needs it, but there's no shortage of great moments in it. Obviously, the most noteworthy being the epic with Stan finishing late into the night, over 5 hours again, a year after that final in 2012. Semi-final saw one of his all-time great performances against Ferrer, and then of course in the final by beating Murray, he became the first player ever to three-peat at the Australian Open. But honestly, forget about all that. You just gotta hone in on the fact that this outfit was perfect. I cannot emphasize that enough. And with that, we bring down the curtain on my favorite Novak Djokovic outfits of all time. I'd like to wish Novak Djokovic a happy 37th birthday. Hopefully by the time I upload this, it'll still be his birthday. But with that, that'll do it for this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on, what is a very opinionated topic here. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, it'd be much appreciated If you could drop a like, help this video perform better in YouTube's algorithm, and also subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thank you all again so much for watching, and of course, I will see y'all in the next one.